Let's see here. Trying to find our conversation.
Let's pull this up.
I see we're live. We are live now.
High screen, nice look.
Tom, what's up, Tom? Tom, you like Old Faithful. Tom,
Yeah.
see you Wednesday night. I'm trying to see a movie Wednesday night. I'm trying to get back on my Wednesday night gig.
Tom, Jason and I are going to go see a movie, but you guys aren't showing it.
What's that?
Northman.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why y'all not showing Norseman, Tom? Northman.
Yeah, I want to know that because it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
It is going to be good. I like that. I like movies in that era. You're not there Wednesday? I'm coming on Thursday, Tom. I'm coming, but it'll be probably at nighttime. I might come during the day, but it's more likely gonna be at night. I don't know what I'm coming to see yet. When you're ready, Travis, I go ahead and hit the music. Let's get it rolling.
Let's do it.
Play the clock. Oh, you already know what it is, man. Ooh and J, they coming through. Straight no chaser. Straight from the hip.
Straight from the hip, don't need no script, just need a microphone. My man Coach Boo gon' take you to the entertainment zone. They got the stats of this and that to keep this show on point. And when we're done, we have some fun and rock this funky joint. So if you will, sit back and chill, give us a chance to show ya. If one of y'all would like to call, we'll talk just like we know ya. We take control, then start the roll, and then there ain't no stopping. It's time to dip straight from the hip. Hey, y'all, let's get it poppin'.
Hey, welcome to Straight from the Hip. I'm your host, Coach Gerald Boo Mitchell, coming to you live from the Imperial Palace here on Black Mania. Here with me today, the one and only Travis Butler, coming to you from parts unknown. What's up, Travis?
No, not much. Just same old. Working with Ashley, so she's starting to do some teething. But we did hit a nice little milestone this past week. She started crawling. So
okay, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. How old is she now?
7 months, going on 8.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Good for her. Okay, Miss Carey is at a watch game for the Hawks tonight. So I don't know what you want to watch that for. If you saw that first game, good God Almighty. Somebody beat them like they stole something. Trae Young had 8 points. I mean, they made him look like a little boy out there.
They're down 1 point at the end of the first quarter.
You want to talk about a doggone beatdown. Good God Almighty.
Yep.
So anyway, they're going to that watch party. I'm gonna try to catch it here soon. We get off the show so I can watch the end of it.
I got it on right now.
You know, I hope they take a massive beating. That's why I am with all Atlanta teams. Anyway, folks, we got a lot to talk about. A couple things we missed last week. I was hoping that Miss Carey was going to be on here this week to address some of this Cam Newton comments because women worldwide are eating his little ass up. Well, I don't know if he can come back to the NFL. I mean, they are tearing him up about them comments. But we're going to start the night off like we always do, talking about football. And we're going to talk about Miami Miami. I'm sorry, talk about Baker Mayfield. I've never seen, I think, other than what was the guy's name? Ryan Leach. Remember Ryan Leach? Ryan Leaf. That's him. Ryan Leaf. That was a train wreck. I mean, he destroyed himself. But this looks like Baker Mayfield's headed down that same road. He needs to stay off social media and just be quiet.
Yep.
And just let things happen naturally. And, don't tell people about where you think you're going to go and, who you think needs a quarterback. Just be quiet. Just be quiet and let your agent do his thing, wind up somewhere, and then just ball out. I would be, if I were him, I'd just be somewhere working out every day, trying to keep things in perspective and get ready to go do my thing. But anyway, that's not happening right now. What do you think, Travis, about Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, he's just in a really difficult position, right? Of course, former #1 overall pick. Has he been a complete bust? I would say no, right? Like, he led the team to the playoffs one year. They've been semi-competitive almost every year. He's not a top echelon quarterback, but he's not a bottom feeder, right? He's just kind of a middle of the road quarterback. And unfortunately, the Browns thought that, obviously think that they are a quarterback away from being a contender. So they got they went and got Deshaun Watson, and that really leaves Baker in a tough spot. And I'm sure it's difficult for him because he wants to play, but he obviously knows he's not going to play for the Browns. And he probably wants to get out of there and just go anywhere different that he can see a viable spot for him. But it's difficult in the NFL when you really don't have control as a player where you get traded to and when you get traded.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you on several points because, number one, he's still under contract with the Browns.
Right.
So if he had just been quiet and just played his role, the NFL still hadn't said what they're going to do with Deshaun Watson. So, I mean, at the end of the day, they could say, okay, we're going to suspend him for 6 weeks.
That's true.
That would give Baker the time to go ahead and ball out those 6 weeks. Well, they might say, hey, I mean, we're on a roll right now. I mean, if he was 6-0, you think they would pull him out and then put Deshaun Watson in there? I mean, that's what I'm saying. If he just would have been quiet, you don't know exactly how this thing would have played out.
Right.
Because even though Deshaun Watson is with them now and all that, the NFL has still yet to say what they're going to do to him as far as what kind of penalty, if any, he's going to have to face.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like I said, Baker could have been just sitting there chilling, working hard, getting himself together, doing what he needs to be doing to get ready to play. And that's what he should have been doing anyway.
Right.
But he wasn't doing that. I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, he's too busy worrying about, his feelings. And, I mean, that's the last thing you can worry about in the NFL is your feelings.
Right.
So nobody cares about your feelings. Nobody cares about that at all. So, I don't know. I'm just I'm mesmerized by just some of the stuff he's saying. And another thing, how much money do you pay that agent? I mean, when you're making $12 million a year and he's getting probably 2-3%, maybe as much as 5% of that.
Okay.
Let him take those blows.
Right.
You don't need to be taking them. Let your agent be coming out saying, oh, I can't believe how they did my client. So unprofessional. I've never dealt with an organization like this. Blah, 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 blah. Let him take those blows. Let your daddy take those blows. Like what's the name did? Your receiver. Your receiver let his daddy talk about how bad you are and all this other stuff. Odell Beckham Jr.
Yep.
Let somebody in your family take those blows. You don't take those blows. Because like I said, now you got people in Carolina like, oh, God, no. When they heard he was coming to Carolina, that dude tweeted out, no, with about 8 O's behind it and an exclamation point. And I mean, that's what I'm saying. And that's like their best receiver. So I don't know why he feels like he has to live his life. A lot of people are like that. A lot of athletes are like that. Feel like they have to live their life in social media.
Mm-hmm.
They want to get everybody's approval. They want followers. Everybody wants to get all these followers and and wants everybody to like what they say and like what they wear and like what they eat. I'm sick of it. There are so many times I see people take pictures of every meal they eat every day. I mean, who does that? Who cares? I mean, I'm not a food person anyway. I mean, I like food as much as anybody else, but I'm just saying I don't live to eat. I eat to live.
Right.
And it's a big difference. And so I mean, it's just, and that's what Baker Mayfield seems like he does. He's always wanting to be in the guy people are talking about. When people are talking about you, they're just talking about you in a bad way.
Right.
I mean, you need to sit down somewhere and be quiet and talk with your pants, as my coach used to say. Go out there on the football field and do something and whatnot. I don't know if he will land somewhere at this point. I mean, I really don't, especially with all these newbies they're talking about coming out. I know they're saying nobody probably come out on the first round except Malik Willis, but they still got quite a few quarterbacks who are coming out this year that are going to find a spot somewhere in the NFL.
Absolutely, yeah. Malik Willis is going to be first-round pick. I think Kenny Pickett's going to be first-round pick. I don't know if he's first-round pick worthy, but someone's going to take him, right? He's a quarterback. So, you know, it's a slim picking in terms of quarterbacks. But if you really think about it, there's not a lot of teams that need starting quarterbacks right now, right? If you just go down the list, most teams already have their starting quarterback that you could say, I could see that guy being the starting quarterback for at least 2 more years.
Well,
right?
not only that, but look at this. Somebody had projected him not to be a starting quarterback, but to maybe going to Tampa Bay. So now you sit behind Tom Brady for a year, and then if he retires, you take over. I mean, that would have been a great spot for him. Yeah. But I'm sure they wouldn't want him there now.
Yeah.
After all this stuff going on. That's my whole point is I think that he has single-handedly hurt himself and probably taken away several opportunities that he would have had otherwise. If he just shut up and just understand that this is a business.
Yeah.
This is a business. And guess what? If you have a great GM, if you have a really good GM that you'd want to be behind and support and everything else, he's looking to improve his team every day.
Yep.
So if he thinks he can go get Deshaun Watson like he did, and he did go get Deshaun Watson, guess what? Kudos to him. That joker will probably get the damn NFL Executive of the Year award. But that's his job.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he's supposed to do. Now, if he can get him to play without having to sit out from the NFL, he'll damn sure get the NFL Executive of the Year job. Let Deshaun Watson wind up playing without having to sit out one game and watch and see if that joker don't get NFL Executive of the Year award.
Yeah.
So that'd be crazy if he can pull that off.
There'll be an internal investigation in the NFL if Deshaun Watson doesn't miss at least one game.
And maybe so. But like I said, it'll be interesting. I don't put anything past him now. I'm being honest with you, past the NFL or whatever, because it's so arbitrary.
Yeah.
The things that happen now. You know, there are things that happen that, you know, just like the whole thing about him even being put out of the league for as long as he's been, it's just been arbitrary. We've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
Never seen anything like that.
And to swing it back to Baker, you know, the NFL draft is coming up in a week and 2 days, right? Mm-hmm. 9 days.
Yep.
If a team needs a quarterback at this point, why would they pick up a free agent, right? Or why would they trade for a guy when you got the draft coming up? So I don't expect him to do anything until at least possibly the draft. And even then, I don't know why a team would trade for him during the draft when you could draft, you know, a younger guy, unless you really like Baker. But I feel like if a team really liked Baker, they would have already tried to get him. Well,
here's the thing, is you might be able to package Baker, whatever team you're on, whether you're the team that might need a quarterback or a backup quarterback or whatever. I mean, you can package Baker. Like, say it's Atlanta. Say you're not really crazy about Marcus Mariota. I mean, I know you brought him in to be your quarterback, but you're not crazy about him. You're not really sure about him.
Right.
So they say, you know what? Let's go ahead and get Baker Mayfield and make them two fight it out. So, you know, we will try to use that against Cleveland because Cleveland might either have something we need or Cleveland might have something that somebody else needs,
Mm-hmm.
and we can try to get like a three-way trade where we wind up getting Baker Mayfield, but we also wind up getting some other pieces that we need too in a three-way trade. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's too many possibilities out there. I agree with you. I don't think he even goes in the draft. Yeah. I think Baker Mayfield will be a post-draft transaction. Hey, Ms. Hood, how you doing? Yeah, you and Tom are in the boom boom room tonight. Y'all the only two out there so far. It was good to see both of y'all. I appreciate y'all for being here.
Yep.
But I don't like I said, I don't think Baker Mayfield will go, during the draft week. Speaking of draft week, Tyler Goodson and his dad and mom have been friends of this show for a long time. He hit me up this week, and he's going to be working out with me up until the time of the draft.
Okay.
And so we're going to start working out tomorrow morning at 6:30.
Nice.
So I'm excited to be working out with him. He's a great kid. Got good family, mom and dad, very religious, very good, sound people. And so, like I said, I'm happy to have the opportunity to work out with him for the next about a month or so. He said he's probably gonna be home for another month. Even after the draft, he'll probably go fly to wherever he's drafted from and do that kind of thing. Go up there for a press conference, all that. Then he'll come back home for another couple of weeks before he goes back up there. Okay. So anyway, we're very hopeful. We're here in anywhere between second and fourth round, which would be great.
Yep.
And so we're excited. So anyway, I wanted to make that announcement on here.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, and then we'll move on. I'm sure, like you said, you've talked to him. Has he mentioned any teams that he's, had discussions with, or had private workouts with, or anything like that?
His dad has told me several teams. I'm not gonna unleash that on here because a lot of teams, you'd be surprised how people find information out.
Right.
But he said he's talked to a total of 18 teams.
18? 18
teams. He's actually had conversations with GMs and coaches of 18 teams.
Wow.
So there's a lot of interest in him.
Good.
And so we're gonna just work on, keeping him in shape and keeping him up to par, so that when he does go wherever he goes, he'll be on and popping. Absolutely. So that's the plan.
Yeah, that's great.
So anyway, Travis, I don't know if you saw, but in the news you got some of your top receivers. My man Deebo Samuel being one of them.
My man Deebo Samuel.
No, Travis, that he ain't even in your conference. He ain't even in your conference.
I've been a Deebo Samuel fan since before he entered the league. Come on, you know that.
Here we go.
Go Gamecocks.
Anyway, I don't say nothing about Joe Burrow. I don't say he's my man. So I don't know how in the hell Deebo Samuel's gonna be your man playing on my team.
Go Gamecocks.
But in any event, a lot of these top receivers are saying that they're going to sit out. They're going to hold out because they want new contracts, because all these other guys in the league who are not as good as them. I'm telling you right now, there's a bunch of guys who have gotten big-time contracts who are nowhere near as talented as I know Deebo. I don't see. I'm not an AJ Brown fan. I know he's good, and I think he's good. I just don't. I don't give him as much love maybe as some other people do. That's just me.
Right.
But Deebo Samuel is a grown ass man, and I can't believe that he needs to be getting paid.
Yeah.
So him and several other big time receivers though have said, "Hey man, the market's changed, and our money needs to change to match the market, because you got some scrubs out there, and I won't say necessarily scrubs, but you got some folks out there getting money that are not as good as us, and we need to be invited to that party." So what do you think about that, Travis?
No, and I'm actually trying to get. I know it's Debo Samuel,
Terry Brown,
Terry McLaurin, and there was AJ Brown, as you said, AJ Brown. Those are the three that kind of are getting the headlines as hey, we each want new contracts. All three of those are very good wide receivers. They're all number ones in my eyes. Now, the different levels. I would take Debo out of all three of them. I like AJ Brown. I like Terry McLaurin too. I think that's kind of do you want a bigger wide receiver or more of a run and catch wide receiver in Terry McLaurin? That's a personal preference. But go get your money. You're one play away from tearing out a knee, and then you just lost millions of dollars and may never play again, right? Especially going into a rookie deal like all three of those wide receivers are. And I believe all three of those wide receivers have made the Pro Bowl and have had multiple 1,000-yard receivers, receiving yards. So, and I know 1,000-yard receivers isn't, what it used to be, but there's still not a lot in the NFL every year. And those guys are some of the better wide receivers in the league, definitely top 20 in the league, and they're not getting paid top 20 money. So go get your money. So, go for it. I got no problem with them trying to get their money.
I know, and I agree. And I hate it comes to this. I hate that. I hate that this happens a lot in the NFL, and we can't. Things like this block basically what goes on the field, and they say that it's very likely that these guys will could be traded during the draft because teams don't have the money or don't want to do anything with the money to pay them. And so they might say, you know what, let's go ahead and trade Debo and see if we can get a first-round draft pick or see if we can get a couple picks or whatever, and we'll just have to live with the loss of him because we don't have that money or we don't want to have that money to pay him. So,
and let's face it, in the NFL, you don't have to have a great wide receiver. It helps, but you don't have to. And a wide receiver, you can get wide receivers in the second and the third round that are productive Pro Bowl players. Debo Samuel was a second-round draft pick. Terry McLaurin, I don't know when he got drafted, but I know it wasn't the first round. I would bet it's probably a second or third round pick. AJ Brown was either a late first or an early second round pick, right? T. Higgins was a second round pick, and he had over 1,000 yards this year. You don't have to have a first round draft pick, high profile wide receiver to make your team go. And I think a lot of teams realize that and are willing to part with, a wide receiver because they know they can get another one coming into the draft.
Yeah, I would disagree with you there, Travis. They say that there are 6 positions in the NFL that you must have if you want to be successful. You got to have a rushing end.
Okay. Yep.
Just a hell of a pass rusher.
Yep.
You got to have a quarterback.
Obviously.
Got to have a offensive tackle.
Okay.
You got to have a defensive back, a shutdown corner. I'm sorry, it's 5. And you got to have a game breaker wide receiver. And so you don't have to have a tailback. You don't have to have a running back. But you got to have at least those 5 positions: rush in, offensive tackle, a quarterback, a DB, a lockdown DB, and a cover corner, and then a lights out wide receiver, as you put it.
And I get that. I'm not arguing that. My point is that you don't have to – you can find good wide receivers in the second and the third round in the NFL draft. My point is that you don't have to pay for a wide receiver if you just keep getting a new one every few years and you hit. Now, you got to hit on it. But again, there's a lot of wide receivers every year that come into the NFL and have good years. Maybe not unbelievable years, but there are plenty of wide receivers that are rookies every year that get 1,000 yards or 900 yards.
Well, I think that depends on a lot of things too, Travis. I mean, who's the quarterback?
Right.
Because I mean, the bottom line is that, you know, if you don't have somebody that can throw it to you, that can get it to you, you know, if you got famous Jameis down there, and I mean, and you're a wide receiver, a rookie wide receiver out there with him, or if you had you know, Drew Brees in the last few years of his playing, he couldn't even throw the ball 30 yards.
Right.
I mean, so I mean, like I said, I mean, all of that kind of comes into play. Yep. But I don't think that there's a whole lot of, you know, you talk about Jamar Chase. Well, Jamar Chase went out there with Joe Burrow, who they were already familiar with each other, had already played ball together and been around each other, and it was just LSU all over again. So that's what I'm saying is that, you know, when you have that kind of connection, yeah, that's one thing. But when you bring in, you know, Joe Black, you know, from wherever, Penn State or wherever, at the end of the day, I mean, he doesn't know whoever this quarterback is forever. And it takes a long time, at least a year, of a quarterback receiver getting that relationship where, you know, he knows when I'm going to make my move to go on this out route, so he throws the ball so we complete the pass and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So that's all I'm saying. Miss Hood, I don't know if you got my message there. We had Liftathon earlier. I had to rush to get over here. And I know Matt Kalut and some other people who watch this show were sitting up there in the stands watching that. So Liftathon is a fundraiser. So it's a weightlifting thing that the football players do, and parents, you know, make pledges. Oh, I'm going to give you $1 for every pound you lift, that kind of thing. So when your max is, you know, 200, I'm gonna give you $200,
right,
or whatever. So I had to go over there and help out with that disaster. I don't like that. I don't like parts of football that don't have anything to do with football. See, that's a fundraiser for me. And you know, kids get to dress up and they wear costumes and all this. Dude, I want to be as far away from that as I can. If it don't have anything to do with football, where we actually are either teaching football or we are playing football or whatever, I don't mind, you know, being in a classroom setting and with the kids and all that. Rick Rando, he was one of them over there too. Rick was at the Liftathon. His son had a good day, matter of fact, at the Liftathon. But I don't like doing that kind of stuff, Rick. I'm just straight. My 2 worst days of the year are picture day and the banquet, because neither one of them have a damn thing to do with football. And I don't see why I have to be here. I'm like, man, use my picture from last year and put it in the program. You know, I'm not trying to be there for that shit. Excuse my language. And same thing with the banquet. Well, I mean, dude, we already moved on to the new kids. I mean, we have the banquet in January. The season ended in November. We already been for a month working with these new kids and forgetting about these old kids. So let's just keep riding. I don't want to have no banquet. I mean, I'm serious. Y'all think I'm joking. I do not like going to non-football functions for football. And tonight was one of those things. That's what that is tonight, Rick. That's a non-football thing. I know Miss Hood said she knew I was going to say picture day. And I'm just telling you, if you ever been to a high school picture day and, you know, you trying to take pictures and you got some idiot trying to put rabbit ears on somebody, and so the cameraman said, oh, we got to take another one. You know, hey, son, put the rabbit ears down. And I'm like, please tell me who that is so I can kill him. I mean, that's the way I feel. I am not in a good mood on picture day.
That's when you say whoever does it has to run 100 laps or something.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's what I'm saying. You give the kids a platform to act silly, and then, you know, you don't expect them to act silly, but they do. And it just, oh my God, it just gives me, thank you, Miss Hood. And it's 100 degrees out there. It's hot as the devil's toenails out there on that doggone field. And that's what I'm saying is that when you got all that going on, Miss Hood, and plus, you know, you had to wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning, or you had to be there at 7 o'clock in the morning. And then they got Miss Hood out front, bless her heart. I love Miss Hood to death. She got me that little tired Chick-fil-A biscuit out there, trying to give it to him when I go in there. I'm so mad. I don't even want that biscuit, do I, Miss Hood? I don't even take that biscuit. But anyway, that's a whole nother thing. let's switch to college basketball. And I got a college basketball, college football.
Okay.
I've got a very interesting topic that I want to talk about here, and I would love to get everybody's feedback. Because I saw a thing on ESPN about this the other night. They were talking about Joe Paterno. They had a little special on about Joe Paterno.
I think actually the special was like this week. I don't know if they've shown it or not.
I watched it. No, I watched it.
You did? Okay.
Yeah,
okay. I didn't know if it was tonight or
I watched it.
I watched it.
If it wasn't last night, it was 2 nights ago.
Okay.
But I watched it. It might have been while I was in Nashville, but I watched it because I wanted to see it all. And, I guess the question that I walked away from there is what do people think today about Joe Paterno? What is his legacy? Because I have for years admired Joe Paterno. I felt like he was one of the Mount Rushmores. If you're gonna put coaches up there, he need to be one of them. Right. And I'm not a Big Ten guy, but right. At the end of the day, you just have to respect some people, for winning, for class, for the way that they win, the things that they say, all that kind of stuff. Well, every time I see one of these little exposés or whatever you want to call them, these ESPN 30 for 30 or specials or whatever you want to call them, like I think tonight they talking about Greg Norman, the Shark.
Yep.
And they're talking about him tonight on that same show. Guys, what do you guys think? And I want to hear everybody's comment. Rick, Annette, Tom, Matt, Kalut just joined the show. What do y'all think is about legacy? Because when I see these shows and they start talking about Sandusky and all the stuff that happened and all that, it's almost like Joe Paterno is painted as an enabler. And when I talk to people, and I'm not going to mention their names, but I know a lot of guys who went to Penn State, a lot of football players who went to Penn State and played under Joe Paterno.
Right.
And just about every one of them say, dude, I'm going to tell you right now, Joe Paterno knew about everything that was going on that campus.
Really?
He knew everything that pertained to the football program. He knew everything. He said, I remember one day we were out, me and some guys went, we took a blood oath that we weren't going to ever talk about or ever tell on each other, whatever. And we snuck out one night and broke curfew and this, that, and other. And the next day, Joe Paterno called me in and said, if you ever do what you did again, you're off this team. And he's like, what? And he said, to this day, everybody who's involved put their hand on the Bible and said they didn't tell him. But yet he found out anyway. And he said that's the way he was on that campus. So he even says that for him not to know, I would be amazed if that were the case. So with that being said, Travis, tell me what you think about Joe Paterno.
I think when you ask this question, I think you said you get, you hear people and you get a lot of different answers, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of that has to do with the age of the person who's asking or who's answering the question.
Well, let me say this because you just bring up a good question because Tom just said he don't know who Joe Paterno is. Right. Joe Paterno was the head football coach at Penn State for many years. And in the eyes of a lot of people, he's a legend. And they used to have a statue of him right there at the mouth of the stadium. And after all this stuff that I'm talking about went down, where one of his assistant coaches was molesting football players and young children, then they removed the statue because, like I said, again, a lot of people have kind of, leaned over to the fact that maybe Joe knew about this and didn't do anything about it. So that's why we're talking about this today, because again, and you can Google it on ESPN or whatever and watch it. But I'm telling you, it's hard to watch. I mean, it's hard for me as a Joe Paterno fan to watch. And I've seen this thing before, and I turned it off kind of. I didn't want to see it because they started really getting into the details about Joe, and I just didn't want to see it. I just didn't want to see him being painted as that guy. And then I watched it full-fledged this time, and like I said, they just leave you with kind of a bad taste in your mouth for Joe Paterno, and it's very disheartening for me. Right. And again, I'm 55 years old. So, being 55 years old, like Travis said, kind of depends on what era you grew up in. But I grew up in that era where Joe Paterno was a big hero of everybody. I mean, hard to hear anybody say anything bad about see, Miss Hood says she always thought of him as a legend.
Legend, exactly. That's kind of my point. Look, I think there's a generational answer to that. Mm-hmm. To me, I'm 35 years old. Okay. I remember watching Penn State as a kid, right? Mm-hmm. And Joe Paterno. I also grew up in Ohio, so I grew up in Big Ten country, right? Mm-hmm. I watched more Big Ten football than any other conference because that was the conference that was on TV the most for me, right? So I did watch a lot of Penn State games. But for me, I was just like, okay, it's some old guy, some really old, an old coach who's been around for a long time. And it is obviously an exceptional coach, and everyone adores and loves him. But to me, he's just some old guy, right? Who's just been around a long time. I felt the same way about Bobby Bowden. Okay, mm-hmm. So again, I think to answer the initial question, what do people feel about it? I think a lot of it has to feel about him. I think a lot of it is a generational thing. Older, fans, older. People that watch college football that kind of grew up with Paterno think of him as a legend. Younger folks, possibly like, myself or even younger than me, right? Again, I'm 35. There could, 30s and 20-year-olds that didn't grow up watching Paterno really, and they're just like, oh, this guy, how did he let this happen? Mm-hmm. I think to answer the question, it's really a generational thing. And I honestly think that's what kind of got him is there was a younger generation movement in society that the older heads kind of got out, and more, there were more younger people coming in and going, hey, what's going on over here? Somebody blew the whistle, and everything came out, and then he ended up leaving.
Well, let me read some of Matt's comments. I really appreciate both of them. He said people believe that Paterno knew what was going on, and his legacy will forever be tarnished. And I got to agree with that.
Yep.
He also said before Saban, Paterno was thought of in that breath, and I agree with him on that too.
Yep.
I mean, before Paterno was Saban. I mean, because every year Paterno was, double-digit win seasons, always in the, top 3, 4, 5 in the country. But I think that what people admired about him too was he ran a class program.
Yep.
You don't see Penn State players dressed all crazy with all kind of stuff hanging off of them and tattoos and this and that and bandanas on. And it was, nope, we're Penn State. You don't wear all that. You're going to put on the uniform. Your knee pads are going to cover your knees. You're going to wear a white helmet. You're not going to have anything hanging out the helmet. Clean. I mean, everything clean is what his program was known for. Irvin. Let me welcome Irvin to the show real quick, Travis. Hey, Irvin.
What's going on, guys? Sorry I'm late coming home from work.
I got you, man. I got you. Go ahead, Travis.
And then I'll just a quick point. And to comment on the uniform, the same uniforms, right? The same uniforms every game, every year. There wasn't a blue hat this time and a white shirt and a multicolored one. No, the same thing.
Right. I agree. Irv, what you think about Paterno? You probably ain't know who that is.
Oh, come on now.
You on Wikipedia? You gotta remember Wikipedia trying to find out who he is?
Not at all. You gotta think I'm older than Travis, so I got Travis by a few years.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to remember at one point you couldn't mention college football without mentioning Bobby Bowden and Joe Paterno.
Yep.
They were neck and neck, 1 and 2.
It was neck and neck, and then it got to a point. It was Pete Carroll as well.
Yep.
And it's crazy how everybody had some type of crap going on at their school.
Yep.
And from what I heard, and they was talking a little bit about it on the radio on the way home, actually, the word got out with Sandusky long before everything got piled up and destroyed.
Yeah.
So the crazy thing is, I remember this before Paterno passed. Paterno actually put in a request to the hierarchy at the school, and they brushed it off. So when Paterno did that, he thought he did his job and just decided that was it.
Exactly.
Right.
And that was in his mind, his out. Okay, I said something to one person in the hierarchy of Penn State. I did my job. I informed someone what they want to do from here. My hands are clean. I don't care anymore.
Exactly.
And in hindsight, he should have kept pushing, and he never.
Well, look at it this way, though.
And then he kept him on staff.
But that's my point. Thank you. That's what I was going to say to you right there.
Right. So yes, you
can't
did your
keep
job,
on
but
staff. I understand what you're saying you did when you say, okay, I went to hierarchy, I reported it, they dealt with it in whatever way they wanted to. I was done. I did my job. You didn't do your job if he's still on your staff, because your other part of your job should have been to fire him and release him from your staff.
The second.
Yeah.
Especially with that type of allegation.
Oh, ain't no doubt. He had to go. Yeah, he should have gone. Tom says, so whether or not whether he knew or not, his credibility is gone as well as his legacy. And that's my question to you guys. Is it an asterisk we put by his name or all his wins, or
no? No, there's no asterisk. I don't think it affects. I really don't. His legacy. No, I honestly don't really think it affects much in terms of how many wins he had and how good of a coach he actually was. I really don't.
Because ultimately, we knew he wasn't doing that stuff.
Right.
Now, keeping people on your staff, doing all that craziness, you have a responsibility for that and the promises that you made for each parent. I can't let him die out by saying he never existed in college football.
And I agree with that, but I'm just saying this because you know the environment today. There are coaches getting fired because of their assistant coaches and what they've done with recruiting.
Like Kevin Sampson in basketball got fired because of texting.
See what I'm talking about? That's what I'm saying. Coaches today, head coaches. There's some head coaches going down because their assistants were doing stuff. Patino swears that to this day. Patino's like, first of all, I didn't do anything, and y'all fired me because I had assistant coaches who were doing things that I did not tell them to do. I didn't know they were doing that stuff. How can I know that those guys are doing that stuff? They're like, well, you hired them.
You hired them, right? So
the bottom line is that now you leaving with him. So he's fired and you gone too.
Yeah.
Paterno is out of most conversations. His legacy has absolutely been tarnished, if not destroyed. And that's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with Matt. I'm not necessarily saying that's me because, again, I'm a little bit older than most of you guys. And so, therefore, it will be hard for somebody to get me to hate on Joe Pop because I've been such a fan and such a follower for years. So I'm not necessarily talking. I'm really interested in hearing what some of the younger generation thinks and whatnot about him because, like I said, if you see that thing that I saw, what comes out of that for you? I'm trying to see, because what came out of it for me was just really sadness. The one thing I can say was I was just really sad that, I was like, damn, could he have answered questions a little bit better that would have maybe helped him not be caught up in this stigma that it is now towards who he was and what kind of program he ran? Because, I mean, like I said, it makes him look like he's a damn enabler. Like, dude, you knew that stuff was going on. You reported, yeah, which means you knew what was going on. And then you let that man sit up and right up here and keep on doing it. And then say a word to anybody. Didn't fire him, didn't do anything. And, I mean, dude, it was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah.
So
there was a movie out. I know we're going to move on to a new topic, but there was a movie out a few years ago called Paterno with Al Pacino played Joe Pa in the movie. I don't know if either one of you two guys saw it. It came out in 2018, 2019. And it's really good. And it talks about, kind of like what he knew and what he didn't know. And there's even a scene when all the stuff's going on and coming out and media is swarming Penn State. And they're all swarming at him and his family.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
And his wife is like, why didn't you say anything? And he goes, I did say something, but nobody ever followed up. So I just swept it under the rug. Mm-hmm. And then the next question was like, so you knew about it? He's like, I don't really know what I knew. Right? It was almost like he was.
I know he didn't ever come out and really admit to knowing it. Yeah.
Right.
I know. I saw that too. Yeah. I know. Matt said the facts are actually more horrible than the story that's talked about. And that's what I'm agreeing with Matt. And I said that earlier. That, if you really, because I really kind of dug into it a long time ago and got as much information as I could. And it's bad. I mean, it's really bad. If you really get some of the details about the graphic stuff he was doing and all that, it's bad.
Yeah.
So like I said, or that's been reported anyway by some of the former players and whatnot. So anyway, we got about 10 minutes left. So we're going to go ahead, actually 13 minutes. We're going to go ahead and move on over to the NBA.
Yep.
We got our resident genius here in the building to talk to us. I'm going to tell you right now.
And Irv.
Yeah, and me.
I have not seen Miami play one game this year. I saw them play the other day. Dude, they look like the Harlem Globetrotters out there. Them jokers were doing stuff. I mean, Jimmy Butler has my utmost respect. I'm just going to tell you that right now. God, I mean, dude, I'm serious. I saw some basketball like I have never seen before. With Miami, and I've been saying, oh, yeah, somebody out of the West is definitely going to win this year. It's going to be dude, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you right now, Miami playing on such a high level. If they can keep up what I saw, and we'll talk about some of these other teams in a second. But Irv, talk to me about Miami.
Well, the one thing about Miami that I've always loved is their defense is on a different level.
Oh, dude.
They are locked in.
Everybody reaching for the ball.
Everybody. If one person slacks off, another person in their face. Hey, listen, man, you put your hand out there instead of getting in front of the guy. You love it. Now, I mean, Atlanta's playing pretty solid with them right now. This is only a 2-point game in this one. But, yeah, Jimmy Butler always has gotten my respect. But I've always had to fight for this man's respect. Every conversation that I've had.
He locked down Trae Young's last the other day.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think one time they're like, I'm going to bump heads or something. And you see Jimmy just say like, dude, I'm going to be right here all night. I mean, you may well get used to this because I'm going to be right here in your chest the whole night. Wherever you go, I'm going. And dude, I'm like you. They play great defense. They're having fun. I mean, that's, to me, what makes teams better than others today is the teams that are out there having fun. I mean, you look at Joel Embiid. That joke has fun every night. You see him talking to the coach of the other team last night, Raptors. He over there asking why he made some of those comments he made in the media and everything. I mean, Embiid is just out there chilling. I mean, he's just out. The teams that I see out there having fun. See, I think that's why Brooklyn can't get it together. Because I just don't think they're having fun. Well, Kyrie too worried about the fans and this and that and people booing him. And because, man, play basketball. Because when you play basketball, you look like damn Uncle Drew out there. I called Jay the other day. I said, you see Kyrie out here doing some Uncle Drew shit on them. I mean, he's out there showing out, but he's not having fun.
Yeah.
You can tell he's not having. I love to see these guys, and I'm telling you, all the extra passes, like one guy stole the ball, throw it to his guy down court, and then took off running the field of lane. The guy could have easily dunked it, but instead he waited for him to get there, and they gave him a little alley-oop and let him dunk it. Because they just having fun. I mean, it's not like anybody's trying to hog the ball, anybody trying to do this. I mean, I like what I saw out of Miami Heat. I'm telling you that right now.
I went into this series. I know we really didn't spend much time on it last week because we didn't know who was going to play, right?
Mm-hmm.
No.
I went into the series, Atlanta and Miami, thinking, okay, Miami's going to win. But like you, Coach, I hadn't watched a lot of Miami. Thinking, okay, they're a good team. They're obviously the number one seed. But I'll take like Miami in like 6, right? Miami in 6. I'll give the Hawks, 1 or 2 games. Trae Young will have a really good night. But Bogdanovich will have one really good game, this, that, and the other. After I saw game 1, Heat may win this in 4. Like,
dude,
they are an unbelievably good team.
I'm telling you.
I don't think there's another team in the East that can beat them. If you just go down the list.
What's your pick? What's your pick, for this series?
Oh, yeah. I there was 4 series that I said going into the playoffs that we shouldn't even watch.
Mm-hmm.
Miami, Atlanta, which was going to be a sweep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm getting told otherwise in this game right now. Philly and Toronto.
I knew that was going to be a terrible game.
Yeah.
Terrible.
The horrible matchup.
Philly is just an awful matchup for Toronto. Yeah.
Yeah. The Warriors and the Nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
The Nuggets, Warriors is a horrible matchup for the Nuggets.
Yeah.
And the Bucks and the Bulls, only because the Bulls has so many injuries that hurt them in the series. And they gave the Bucks a good run that first game.
They did. But I knew that was going to be a 4 or 5er.
Well, I'm gonna disagree with y'all on this series right here. Atlanta and Miami is gonna be a 3-0 sweep because they ain't gonna play the 4th game. They just gonna quit. They're gonna be like, hey man, that's all right. We'll need me to play this last one. Just go ahead, y'all rest up and good luck. Represent us, represent these.
Like, hey, I got the book right here. Hey, Trey, how many points did you say you wanted to score this 4th game?
Yeah, man.
27? All right, cool.
Yeah. I will say this about Atlanta. I don't think they're a bad team, right? Like, I don't think they're the 8th worst team in the East either. If you just match them up, I don't think they're the 8th worst team. They just got unlucky that they're the 8th seed and they're playing the Heat, right?
Well, let me tell you this. Here's what I see with Atlanta. I think Atlanta is a streaky team. Right now, like you said, whatever you're seeing, I guarantee they lighten them up because they're streaky. And I mean, if tonight's that night, then they're good. But they do not have enough players on their team that are that way. That if, like for instance, Golden State, if Clay ain't hitting them, Steph probably hitting them.
Jordan Poole is going to be hitting.
You see what I'm saying? I mean, they are like 10 deep.
Yep.
When you're talking about Golden State, I mean, you look at Phoenix, same thing. Phoenix is another deep team. I mean, you got to have some depth, and you got to have some of these role players who just like Miami. I saw Miami the other night. Boy, both them white dudes were lighting it up. Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero. I mean, God dog, just launching that thing from the timeline and just dropping them in.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. When you got that many weapons, I mean, you got your stars on the bench and the doggone scrubs of the team out there keeping the lead at 20. At 20 plus. You can't even make a comeback on the scrubs. Dude, I'm telling you, that dude, I love it. I mean, I love watching that quality basketball. The reason I stopped watching NBA was because there wasn't quality basketball like I'm seeing right now. You kept seeing a bunch of turnovers. a bunch of one-on-one. One guy get the rebound, dribble all the way down the court, ain't thinking about passing. When he got that damn rebound, he gonna shoot it when he got down there.
Yep.
He gonna find a way to shoot it. And I mean, that's what the NBA had turned into for me. And that's why I'm not watching this. This is fun, watching somebody get a rebound, shoot it to the point guard. The point guard take it down, him come on the trail. The ball go to about 4 or 5 passes, and then somebody shoot an open J.
Right.
What's the score, Irv? I see you looking at it.
No, I'm watching Memphis and in Minnesota right now. John Morant just did some crazy layup.
Well, we're going to talk about Memphis anyway. I think we got them up next.
Yeah, real quick. I know we need to get to predictions for all these other matchups, but real quick with the Hawks. The other thing that's really hurt them is Clint Capella's out, right? And John Collins is out. So they got no one down underneath to stop Bam. And
John Collins is back. He came back and played 15 some odd minutes the last game. So he should be playing more this game.
Okay, whatever. But it really hurt with not having Clint there, right?
Yeah.
So, but it wouldn't really matter. The Heat was still going to win. But yeah, I think I'll give them 5. I'll say the Hawks win 1 game at home. But
okay, tell me this.
We can move on to other series. Okay.
Who's going to win the East? Who's going to win the East, sir?
The Bucks.
You don't think Miami can beat the Bucks?
No, as much fun as they're having, Milwaukee is just a very destructive team. Like we talk about how streaky Atlanta is.
Yeah.
But you get on a 4-point run, Giannis is dunking on somebody and shutting everybody up.
Yeah. There's a lot of talk about who the best player in the league is right now and all that. And, dude, I'm telling you right now, when Giannis decides he wants to play, I don't know how anybody can stop him.
0.
I mean, he got the whole dream shake. I saw him shoot a ball the other day with 2 guys in his grill, fading out of bounds on the doggone baseline. And when the ball went in, he was like in the 3rd row of those seats that they have behind the basket. I mean, he faded away and shot that ball, looked like over the corner of the backboard into the goal. I was like, how in the hell do you stop that?
You don't.
I mean, he did a spin move, and both of those jokers spun right with him. Like, they knew what he was doing. And they were right in his grill, and he shot it over both of them. And I'm like, dude, I mean, good luck stopping that. I don't know how you stop that.
Yeah. I think Giannis is the best player in basketball right now. And I think he has been for the last at least last year and possibly the year before. Last 2 or 3 years.
A lot of guys will say KD. I mean, most of these guys who are on TV
will say
it's KD.
Well, yeah, KD's shooting aspect is so much better, but Giannis is more fierce defensively.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Rebounding. His 3 is coming along. He had a better year shooting his free throws.
Yeah.
Like if he takes one move to the basket from the 3-point line, he's dunking on you.
Right.
You're going through the basket with him.
Let me ask you this.
Durant is up there now.
Let me ask you this, Travis, and then you, Irv, and then we probably got to shut this thing down. Who's coming out of the West? I mean, that's more of the story.
Yeah,
I believe right now. Who's going to come out of the West? Travis, you first.
Yep. Real quick, I'm actually going to take the Heat in the East. I'll say they beat the Bucks in the East final, so I'll take the Heat. I know Irv, you got the Bucks. The West, I'm going to go Phoenix. That team is loaded. As long as Chris Paul can just stay healthy, right? Because he always seems to get injured in the playoffs. I'm going Phoenix.
Well, let me say this: Miss Carey ain't here tonight, so she could be out in Phoenix with Chris. So I mean, I'm just stop her. Don't look at me like that. I'm just saying. She didn't say where she was going to be watching the game from. So
yes,
she might be.
Said she was going downtown. Come on.
So, who's coming out of West?
I'm saying the same thing. As long as Chris Paul is healthy, you're not stopping Phoenix whatsoever.
Okay. I'm going with Golden State coming out of West.
I could see it.
Yeah, no argument for me.
Yeah, I could see it.
Dude,
I think those are the 2 best, and I think there's a clear divider between those 2 and everybody else in the West.
I watched them play last night.
Yeah.
And Draymond Green, with him on the floor, they just act like a whole different team. You know how, when you're a little brother and your big brother's at home and something wrong with him, or sick or whatever, you walk the streets a little differently but when your big brother's with you, you got a little bit more bounce in your step. That's what they look like with Draymond Green out there on that floor. Like, ain't nobody gonna mess with us tonight.
Yeah, I thought about your mama.
And I'm saying this too. With Klay Thompson shooting him like he shot him last night, man, dude, I'm just telling you.
I know.
That's gonna be a fun 7 games to watch. I think it'll probably take 7 when they play the Suns. Because that's gonna be 2 good teams. And I'm gonna enjoy watching that. I mean, I'm excited about watching NBA. I'm like trying to get off this thing now so I can get up here and see hopefully Atlanta lose. What's the score?
The Miami just went on a quick run, so they're up 5.
Ooh, stay in there, Miami. Stay in there, baby. Dude, I want to see Jimmy Buckets go a long way because I like him. He's very passionate. I love watching him play. So anyway, guys, it's 9:01. We got to get out of here. So I apologize, folks. We started about a couple minutes late because I was running trying to get me some hot tea for my voice, and I was in Liftathon yelling at these kids to get the way we do power cleans, and some of these kids don't know how to do power cleans, and it's scary to watch some of them the way they do it. But
nobody fell back, right?
Yeah, we had quite a few people fall back.
Oh no, yeah.
So it was that kind of thing. Matt was there. Matt's son is on our team. And so he had a pretty good day. He did pretty good on his power clean. So good night, Miss Hood. Guys, we appreciate y'all being out there. Tom, Matt, who else did I see out there? It was about 4 or 5 people. I don't remember all the names now. And I can't scroll back fast enough. But guys, I appreciate you guys being on here. Rick Rando, because we like getting you guys feedback. And like I said, it's more fun for us to do the show when y'all are here, asking questions, making comments, so that we can integrate all that together. Good night, Tom. Oh, I will say this, Tom. Travis told a lie on you. I just looked at the movie tavern, Travis. It's going to be there Thursday night at 7.
I looked it up for Friday. It wasn't up there.
Well, it's there for Thursday.
Okay.
I just looked it up.
Can't do Thursday.
Yeah, I looked it up on Thursday at 7 o'clock. Northman will be there, and I will too. So anyway. But we're going to get out of here. We appreciate all y'all being here. We'll see all y'all next week. Irv, I'm about to join you, and Miss Carrie watching that game. Good night, Miss Francis.
Straight from the hip.
All right, Irvin. I'll